everybody, this is Dr. Madiha Saeed, board certified integrative holistic family physician, coming to you live from my office here in Naperville, Illinois. Let's see if this works this time. It's been a little slow connection, so I apologize. But we have been talking on Thursdays about how your chronic symptoms, either it be headaches, fatigue, irritability, brain fog, muscle soreness and pain, digestive complaints, autoimmune disease, rashes, acne, all of those are due to one underlying root cause, and that is inflammation. By targeting inflammation, you can not have one symptom, but you can have multiple simultaneously. Isn't that crazy? So exciting. But in order to do that, we have to target those specific factors of chronic inflammation, and those are, we have been talking about over the last couple weeks and months, about first the social and spiritual. So spiritual health is really key. Immediately when you wake up in the morning, you want to say 10 things that you're thankful for. That'll create a zone of positivity that helps to lower those stress markers inside your body and help you feel better and lower inflammation in your sleep, literally. So then we have is your social health. You only want to keep those people around you that are going to pull you up and not drag you down. We have your sleep, so make sure you're getting your 6 to 8 hours of straight sleep. Stress management. Stress causes 80% of the complaints that comes to primary care physicians. So focus on incorporating a relaxation technique within your daily routine at least a couple times a day to help you bring down your baseline to a new normal, which is, less stressed. And then we've been talking about your digestive health and how the difference between somebody with a problem and somebody without a problem. If we study the same anatomy books and we study the same physiology books, if we're all the exact same on the inside, it's in our environment that makes the difference. And the biggest connection between our insides and our outsides is through our gut. So what we put in our mouth. So what happens is that in our gut, we have 70 to 80% of our immune system lives there, along with 100 trillion bacteria that line your gut lining. And those bacteria, called the microbiome, have specific functions. And those specific functions are metabolism, gene expression, digestion, all of that amazing immune system, making your neurotransmitters. But what happens, especially if we've been talking about the foods that can kill off these bacteria, we've talked about gluten, we've talked about dairy, alcohol, and all of these foods can actually kill off these bacteria. And what happens is that you then have an imbalance of bacteria, because when the good bacteria dies, you have more bad bacteria. And these bad bacteria don't do their job well. And when they don't do their job well, they let things through that should not be getting through those tight junctions that are in the intestines. And when things are getting through, guess what? It hits that 70 to 80% of your immune system. It goes and attacks it. And when it attacks it, it causes immune complexes to go all over the body. If it goes to your joints, it can cause joint pain. If it goes to your skin, it can cause rashes and acne. If it goes to your head, it can cause migraines. If it goes to your all over your body, it's autoimmune disease. If it goes to your stomach, it can cause digestive complaints. So the list goes on, because that inflammation can cause your chronic symptoms. And that is a state called increased intestinal permeability or leaky gut syndrome. So we have been talking about those specific foods. So we talked about, again, gluten, dairy, alcohol, sugar. Got to get those out if you want to feel better. Gluten and even grains, because if you're really sick, even the grains can bother it like gluten. So it's better to get it out for a couple months, and then you can start adding it back in. But now we're going to talk about processed foods. You've also probably referred to them as Franken foods. Why? Because they contain these type of ingredients that damage your gut flora and can lead to chronic illnesses. And these are like hydrogenated oils, canola, soybean, corn, vegetable oils. All can give rise to increased intestinal permeability and cause this leaky gut. Processed foods also contain, they contain hydrogenated oils. Stay far away. Far away! And they also contain genetically modified plants like corn, soybeans, and so many more. There's probably about 250 different products that contain high levels of glyphosate. And glyphosate is an active ingredient, weed killer, something called Roundup. And as it turns out, that this chemical is very active in disrupting the beneficial bacteria, leading to your leaky gut, imbalances the gut bacteria, damages the intestinal wall. And what it also does, even D3 activation in the liver may be affected negatively by this glyphosate. So therefore, it can lead to your, that's why we have a vitamin D deficiency is so predominant, because of the fact that we are constantly taking in this glyphosate. And we are still, yes, some may say that there's not enough information out there, but actually the stuff that we know about it, it's not good. And so it's better to just simply avoid it the best we possibly can. Because anything artificial can lead to inflammation, because our gut bacteria are not used to artificial foods. And when they're not used to these artificial foods, they die off. And so, for example, we have in foods, in these artificial processed foods, we have food additives. Food additives actually cause uncontrollable hunger, binge eating, MSG, can cause headaches and allergies, damaging your gut. Artificial sweeteners and flavors can cause problems and actually weight gain. Then we have like soy protein isolate. It's like a processed soy that's found in and is linked to cancer in animals. We have sodium and calcium caseinate. That is it's found in like toxic dairy extract. Then we have is phosphoric acid, dipotassium phosphate, and tricalcium phosphate can cause problems. There is carrageenan. Carrageenan can be found in a lot of your, you think that you're being healthy, so you're drinking more almond milk, but again, there's carrageenan in it, and that is actually linked to leaky gut, inflammation, and even cancer. So again, you want to stay far away from that. Sulfides cause inflammation and allergies. Nitrates and nitrites that are found in like processed deli foods, those has also been linked to cancer. Microwave popcorn, right? We think that that's safe. Oh, it's popcorn, it's gluten-free, we're going to stick it in the microwave. But it actually, the bag and all that stuff contains something like a synthetic chemical that's linked to cancer, and it's a hormone disruptor called PFOA. Then we have as industrial food additives like emulsifiers. Then we have lecithin, which is commonly found in your vitamins and chewable gum and ice cream, all linked to autoimmunity. The list goes on and on and on. So I hope you guys had your Depends on, because that was pretty scary. So no leaking, don't take that out on me. But that was pretty scary. So it's best to just stay with the most natural whole foods, because that you know what's in it and what you know exactly what's in it, and it's safe. So then we have the concept of, so those are just the additives and the ingredients. Then we have your genetically modified things, right? And again, that's another discussion that people are like, oh, we don't know enough, but there's what we know of it, it's not good. We talked about the glyphosate, that's in it. I actually had one patient that told me that she actually owns land. And Monsanto, who's like head of this genetically modified stuff, and they have the seed, the genetically modified seed. So Monsanto owns part of her land, because that a little bit of land that she owns can actually pay for the rest of her property. So that's how much they pay her. So she says, this is firsthand experience, she says that when she was walking towards, when she saw the way that they do it, is that they go in and inject each seed. You think that they would just randomly spray it, but no, what they do is they inject each seed into its bulb with chemicals. And so therefore, then obviously they think that it's going to increase the yield production, but it doesn't. They say it's healthier it's not. It actually keeps the bugs far away from it, yes. But would you really want to eat something that bugs don't even want to touch? So it's best to stay far away from that kind of stuff, because there in 2015, glyphosate was linked to cancer by the World Health Organization. MIT did a study of 204 studies and linked it to the reason why we have an increase in chronic disease was directly related to the increase of these genetically modified in glyphosate. So then we have the pesticides. Because what happens, let me tell you, explain a little bit what's going on in the genetically modified. Because these pesticides were engineered to contain something called Bt toxin that kills insects by destroying their digestive lining, and glyphosate doubles because what it also does is acts as a antibiotic and disrupts our guts also. The pesticide disrupts the microbiome, compromises the ability to detoxify toxins, depletes vitamin D, as we talked about earlier, and other key nutrients. It also can mimic estrogen, hormones like estrogen, which can lead to cancers. It's crazy. The pesticides cannot also be linked to increased celiac disease and autoimmune conditions and all of these chronic illnesses, according to 270 studies compiled by MIT in 2013. Whew! Enough reason to give up genetically modified foods? I think so. And keep your body and family as healthy as possible? It's a must. So the other thing, so we talked about how, first, the additives that are the artificial additives that they put in foods that can cause problems. We talked about how artificial and processed foods that can be genetically modified and contain tons of pesticides that can cause a lot of problems. Then we have your refined oils. And refined oils and hydrogenated oils, they lead to inflammation and immune disruption. They also increase your cholesterol and lower your good cholesterol, raising your risk of a heart attack. It promotes obesity, increases insulin resistance, increases prediabetes, even diabetes type 2, cancers and dementia, shortening and margarine spread, or anything that's hydrogenated, is usually found in these refined goodies and treats that we're constantly giving our children thinking they're healthy. So what are the vegetable oils to avoid? The vegetable oils to avoid are your corn, soybean, canola, safflower, sunflower, because all of these vegetable oils are partially hydrogenated, and 90% of canola oil is genetically modified. So these oils, so the canola oil actually has like a double whammy. So we would totally want to stay away from any of those. Then these hydrogenated oils contain pro-inflammatory omega-6s. So there's two types of, so you think, oh wait, fish oil is supposed to be good for you. But actually there's multiple types of fish oil, and specifically the ones that we're going to talk about here are your omega-3s and your omega-6s. So if that balance is disrupted, so we want a balance that's typically, you want omega-6 to omega-3 ratio 4:1 or 1:1, because that ratio optimizes health, fights disease, and stops aging. But if we have a ratio that is higher than that, so for example, if you eat more omega-6, you throw off that ratio. So when you throw off that ratio, what happens is that it's pro-inflammatory. That leads to gut dysfunction, interferes with your normal cell metabolism, and it's really, really hazardous to your health, increasing our chances of heart disease. This imbalance can disrupt the entire immune function, right, and leads to all your inflammation. So it's really, really important to keep all these artificial foods out of our diets. We have to keep, because they have all these additives that cause inflammation. And reading through that, if you don't understand it, don't put it in your body, period. So it should have enough of the ingredients, if you're going to buy something processed, enough of those ingredients that you know exactly what each of them are. And this is, so we had your processed foods have your additives, they have their genetically modified parts to it, and they also have, because if you think about most of processed foods has corn and soy in it, and that is 90% processed and genetically modified. So stay away from that because of this. And then also we have because it contains refined hydrogenated oils and trans fats that leads to inflammation. It is best to stay far, far away from processed foods. Only if you need it. So the only processed foods that I have in my house are your crackers. Like, I have these almond flour crackers. Again, I can read the ingredients that I have as a backup. I have almond flour tortillas that, again, I can read all the ingredients. There's only like 4 or 5 ingredients in them that I have as a backup. I have these chips that are tortilla chips that are grain-free tortilla chips. Again, there's only like 5 ingredients in them. I read it. It's there. So those are the main processed foods that I have in my house. And the rest of that stuff, I try to just keep it simple, sweet, to the point. You know what goes in those foods, and that's love. So therefore, love heals. Keep away from the processed foods, and I will see you guys next week as we continue this topic on the factors of inflammation. Have a great week, you guys. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Like and share this video so you can spread this message of artificial foods and processed franken foods